So as everyone is aware that security is the key thing about Salesforce. Even Salesforce says that security is their first priority. They want to improve the security, or they always want to maintain the security of their customers' data. So we will be having four back-to-back sessions only related to security. So today we will discuss about how organization access works. That means how we can log in into Salesforce, what happens behind the scene whenever a user is trying to log in into the system, and what are the various scenarios and how this actually look like in the background. Even we will see all the related terms in Salesforce itself, what is the use and how we can use this in our real-time scenarios. Everything we are going to discuss related to organization access. Organization is nothing the Salesforce environment. It might be your sandbox, a developer environment, production environment, or any enterprise environment, or you do have some kind of pre-release environment as well. So I will say that please make it an interactive session. If you find any questions in your mind, please say it, and I will feel free to answer you or clear your doubt if you do have any, because I don't want me as keep talking and talking and you are saying that I'm not able to understand it. So what we are going to cover in coming 4 days, like including today. First, we think we are going to learn about how we can access Salesforce environment. Then we will see what is object level access and what are the various parameters from where we can control objects. Objects are nothing if we compare with our database tables. These are tables. And then we will see record level access. Like now, if you have got access to the object, how these records are going or how to control this access. And then at the end, we will see what is the field level access and what are the various parameters involved in. And once you are done with these 4 sessions, I'm pretty much sure you are going to be a security specialist in Salesforce. So we'll start here. And my first question is, like, before we get started, suppose that you have a room, and now how many person can access this, or who are the authorized person to access that particular room? Suppose that this is your Salesforce environment. How many ways you can access your room? Anyone would like to put your comments here? I think Subham, you can. We are opening this bridge. Anyone can feel free to answer this question or why, so that everyone, once the recording will upload it into the YouTube channel, everyone can get.
The person who having the authorization to enter into the gate or having the key,
Mhm. Okay, and who will be those person?
who is the owner of the house.
Owners. Okay, one is
Owner,
owner,
or
and
which is the person whom I know or whom I want they can access my data, my house, or can live in the house, or like my personal.
okay, like tenant.
Yeah, tenant, owner, brother, family, like this.
Okay,
Family
these
members.
are the
Maybe
we can
not
say.
owner.
Yep, go ahead.
Maybe not
Owner
owner,
cannot
someone who
be.
has a key of that particular door that can access.
Yep, definitely correct. You're right. But we can say that the owner basically. Yeah, even you wanted to share the key of your own room, and you wanted to say that go there and live in for 1 hour, 2 hour, or say that just keep my step and keep take my steps and go away. That's the different thing. So basically, there are two key points. One is owner and tenant. So until unless your door is locked, you can't access any accessories that are inside your room. And if you say that you are owner or a tenant for that particular room, once they put the right key or they have access to open the door, what they can you might also include cook, like if you don't want to get disturbed yourself every time Your cook is coming there to cook something for you. And then we have got, suppose that you've got the right key, you are in now in your room. What all you can access is like here are some lists that you can access, what are some kind of accessories that you can access once you are inside your room. So Salesforce is nothing like a room, a private room where you basically have to log in. And if you talk about in Salesforce how many ways we can log in, if you are trying to access Salesforce environment, what are the different ways that we can access an environment?
By using credentials.
Okay, and that's the one way. What is the other way? Or that is the only way that we can access?
That is the
Yes.
only way to
Yeah.
access.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, so in Salesforce, you might have heard about the other option that is single sign-on. That is also one way to access your Salesforce environments. Suppose that because these days SSO is basically used more widely rather than using the credentials. As suppose that you have an Outlook email configured for your system and you wanted to access all the related environments, that might be a Salesforce environment or some kind of other private environments that your organization do have. You don't want to use your credentials every time because you might have different username and passwords. So in that case, we used to have SSO configured for that particular user. And if the configurations are correct, because SSO is also a different topic to consider on or to talk on, so we are not going too deep into that topic. So yeah, you have got username and password, and if username is correct and password is correct, or if you have SSO configured and the configuration is correct, you are going to get the access of your Salesforce environment. So this is the high level information that we all know that we need to provide. If we talk about the first particular scenario that we are going to cover throughout this video, so we all know that we need to provide a username which is a valid and a password, of course. If that is correct, we are getting into the system. But what happens behind the scene, um, not many people know. So here is a complete picture how it happens behind the scene. So up to here, anyone have any questions? And I can't go with the chat. If you can speak up, that will be good.
आई वॉज आस्किंग सर, जैसे कि हमारे पास बार बार जैसे कोई सेव कर लेते हैं हम, जैसे प्रोग्रामिंग में होता है, तो अगर हम जैसे CLI होता है, जैसे अमेजोन का मैंने सुना था कि उसमें लॉगिन करते हैं तो वो लोग बार बार नहीं डालना लॉगिन पासवर्ड, वो एक बार डाल के रख लेते हैं, तो जो कोडिंग होती है उसी में बस अपना पासवर्ड एक बार एंटर कर रखा है, उन्होंने सेव करा है, वो वहीं से टाइप कर लेते हैं, तो ऐसे कहीं से भी लॉगिन हो सकता है ऐसे?
In Salesforce, we do have Salesforce DX, that is a SAP DX, even from where we can log in. Once we can store our credentials, and then we just need to open our environment, and that will direct login into our environment. We no need to provide the credentials there. But again,
ओके,
if we are changing the password, some as Salesforce standards is you must need to change the password in every 90 days. So once your password is changed, you have to change the password again into your CLI as well. Reauthorize the CLI, and then you can access your environment.
ओके सर.
Amit, you are talking about that org authorization that we are doing in VS.
Yep, that is the one. And once you have authorized with your Salesforce CLI, you can open your environment. Even that's not a particular related to VS Code. You can use your CLI commands if you have some knowledge on CLI commands.
SFDA. Yeah. On
Yeah, then
yes, I
you
have
can
done it on VS. Yeah.
open your environment as well. But yeah,
Uh,
as Salesforce introduced VS Code as their default IDE, that's better to use VS Code to authorize, and you don't have to worry about what is the command or what is the syntax for that.
yes, correct. Thank you.
Okay, so now let's start from the beginning, and we will cover each and every aspect and each and every term that we are using. We will see in Salesforce in a working as well. So suppose that here is a user, and the user might be any one of us or any whoever that have access or wanted to access Salesforce environment. They are trying to access. First thing that as we are covering this username and password flow, so no need to worry about SSO things. First thing that user will see, they have to enter the credentials. So you all are aware where we need to access the credentials and what is the URL for that, right? Even if you are not, you just need to go to your, I'll quickly switch back to, okay, Google Chrome. Type here, if you are trying to log in into your production environment, you have got this URL login.salesforce.com, or if you have your custom domain enabled, you can use that. And if you are trying to access sandbox environment, you just need to type test.salesforce.com or your custom domain for sandbox environment. And then once you will you try to hit enter, you will see here it will ask a username and a password for you. So you just need to provide a valid username, valid password. And once you will hit this button, that is login into Salesforce, let's don't provide a user, or I will say that this is an invalid user that I wanted to use here. If I try to log in, you can see that we don't have we're not able to log in into Salesforce. That's what happened here. What will happen and how it will I will show you here. Credentials are incorrect, it will directly say access denied. That's what we saw. There is no other combination for that what is going to happen on behind the scene. That is credentials are incorrect, that means we are not allowed to access. Now credentials are incorrect, sorry, credentials are correct. We have got this particular box that is profile level access. So we all are aware that every user in Salesforce, whenever we are creating, it is required to have at least it is required to have profile for that particular user. In the profile, we have two options. One is login IP ranges and one is login IP hours. What are these two options? Login IP is, suppose that you are working for an organization. That organization must have its own IP ranges, and they only want you to access Salesforce environment from their IP ranges. If you are in your home, you cannot access. In that case, we need to go to profile for that user, provide those IP ranges there, and if user is trying to access that particular Salesforce environment outside these IP ranges, that user is not going to get the access. That's why we are saying that if IP ranges are not valid at a profile level, access is going to deny by Salesforce. Again, if IP ranges are valid, it is going to check login hours. What are login hours? As we all know that corporate life works from 9 to 6, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we have to define our login hours. What are our valid hours? Between those, user can log in. Suppose that if you are trying to log in after 6 p.m., you will not be able to log in into the system, because even if you are trying from a valid IP, your hours are not in a valid range. You have to log in again after 9 a.m. or before 6 p.m. That is why if no, you are not going to get the access to your Salesforce environment. Now what we need to do is, let's quickly see these two parameters where we can get and how these affects. So again, we are here in our Salesforce environment. To get the login IP at a profile level, just quickly get back to your Salesforce profiles. Type from quick search box, just type profile. Select profiles under manage users. Here you will get the profile under which you wanted to add IP ranges. As I'm system admin, I'm just opening this. By opening this profile, you might get two different view of your profile, because this is old access, I can say old view, older UI. But if you are in a new UI, you might get these all links as a related list for that particular profile. So if you are getting this new UI, don't get panicked. You will get all these links as a related list at the top of your sales profile. What we are talking about, we have got system permissions. Under that system, we have got login hours, which we are talking about, and then we have got login IP ranges. So this is the IP ranges that I just added for me so that I can access my environment from anywhere in the world. This is a universal IP address, you can say. If you add this IP range in your at your profile level, you cannot restrict your user to log in from anywhere in the world. User can log in from anywhere in the world if he has a computer and internet connection. You just need to click. Yep. Anyone
So,
wanted to
sir,
ask?
like this, like we are having shutdown, so we all are using 000 IP address.
Okay. So even there is one alternative for this. Suppose that uh, we all know that this is lockdown is going to happen, or everyone is working from home. So once you are in your home, sorry, in your office, what you can do is, if you have the IP range of your home, you can add here instead of adding the universal IP address. That is the valid thing that we need to do. But I know that most of the developers are following this. That is not a best practice. As a best practice, find your IP range of your network which you are connected, and then add start IP at end IP. How you will add this, I'll just quickly show you. To find your IP, I'm sure you all are aware. You just need to say my IP address. You will get your IP address for the particular connection that you are connected with, and just copy this. Go back to your profile, and for the start, just put the same, and again for the end IP range, you need to put the same IP, so that you can only log in with this particular IP address. And that is what the companies do. If they do have specific IP ranges, they use to put inside the same IP for the start address and same IP for the end address, if they don't have different or the variations of IP ranges. And then you can save, or if you wanted to create click new as well, you can do that. So here we all are on the same page, or anyone have any questions?
One question.
Yep, go ahead.
Um, Suppose we have a valid login hours from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I'm working and it's around 5 o'clock at evening and I'm still working. So after 6 o'clock, will I be log out automatically? And if so, what will happen to my work which is unsaved?
Okay, so the session that you are in, suppose that you are editing an MS class. So you are in the session, you are editing that class, you can edit that class and save the work. Your work will get saved. But if you try to open another session, when we say that another session is if you are trying to open some other tab, or you are trying to refresh your particular tab where you are in, or you are trying to preview some web pages or lightning components, at that time you have to provide the credentials. It will automatically get logged out, and it will ask you to access provide your credentials, and then you can start working, or you can start another session. Is
Okay.
that clear?
Yeah, okay.
Amit, just a quick question.
Yep.
Let's say we are using developer console, and our session will be expired at 6 p.m. in evening. So the changes in dev console reflected or not?
So if you are trying to save it after making the changes, um, I'm sure you will get a pop-up that invalid session ID, because I have been tried this and I got this error. So if like if your login hours are expired and again you are trying to edit in developer console, because that is a different tool which is integrated with Salesforce. So if you are trying to edit or make any changes into the class, VA page, or lightning component, it will say that invalid session, and then again you have to either refresh that page to provide the login access, or you have to close that, login into the system, and again open that developer console.
Okay, it means changes will not supposed to be saved.
Yes, you will not be able to save even
Yes.
inside Salesforce environment. If you are suppose that let me open an Apps class here. So this is a class. Suppose that I'm opening this account controller. This is editor inside Salesforce setup itself. I'm trying to make any changes here. Let's suppose that I'm trying to create a class, a method here. I can use this quick save to save the changes, or I can use save button to save the changes. But if I'm trying to do the same in developer console, I will get a pop-up saying that invalid session ID.
Yes, correct, correct.
Okay, so are we good to go in the next, or anyone still have questions here? So I'll take this silence as no. Now we are talking about valid login IP, login hours. We have got a valid IP. We need to provide, most of the company does this as a security purpose. They don't want their employees to log in anytime, uh, except some kind of exceptional employees, or some exceptional time that they do want their employees to access their system outside their environment, outside their organization, and anytime in 24 hours. So you can provide here, suppose that you wanted to use 9 a.m. and you are saying that 6 p.m. That's what I'm not going to choose here. You can save this, and you can use define which particular day you wanted to define your login hours. Even you can define, suppose that it's today's Wednesday, we can define from 9 a.m. till 11 p.m. I can save this now. Okay, oops. So the concept of login IP ranges and login hours is clear to everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If
So
I do not like if I do not provide any of the login hours, then it means that full day access I am having.
yep, it means that you do have access to log in anytime into your time zone, that is either 24 hours or 12 hours. But if you have uh, defined, even if you see that I just defined only for 2 days, that is Monday, Tuesday, but for the other day I've got all day by default. So if I'm providing login IP hours, login hours for any particular day, it is going to reflect all day for other day as well.
Amit,
Okay.
for example, if I don't want login hours for Sunday, so what
Okay.
should I have to do?
That's what you have got all day option. If you don't select anything, let me edit it again for you. So for the day that you don't want any login hours, you can just select here none. Or if you don't want your users to log in on Sunday at all, you can select here 12 a.m. for both the time. This is a very like this combination will be a very rare to match for any user to log in into the system. Even somehow, if they they manage to log in, they will immediately get logged out if they are trying to open up any session into Salesforce. Is it clear?
Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So these are the two things that we had. Let's get back to our presentation. So up to here, this particular block is clear to everyone, right? The profile level access.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so again, I'll repeat it from here. A user is trying to enter a valid credential. First security check that will happen behind the scene is at a profile level. These two parameters will get checked. If a user have valid login IP, that means if user have provided IP address at profile level, these are going to be checked. If the IP are not valid, user will not be able to access. User has a valid IP at a profile level. Again, this login hours will be checked. If those are not valid, you will not get access to your Salesforce environment. If you have valid login IP, login hours as well, then again we have got this access check at network access level. Now this is called this is something related to verification code. So I'm sure everyone you are on the call, you have got the verification code for the first time when you try to log in into your Salesforce environment, at least for one time. So what happens if you have trusted IP ranges added at your network access? That means you are logging from a trusted IP ranges. You will get access to your Salesforce environment. If that IP ranges is not added, a verification saying that verification code If the code is valid, again you will get the access to your environment. If the code is not valid, you will not able to access your environment, and again you have to enter a valid code. So how this works and where we can provide, and how this IP ranges are different with login IP ranges, I'll explain you. Before we go there, anyone have any questions in this complete process that happens behind the scene when user tries to access Salesforce environment?
Sir, IP ranges are given by the administrator or anyone can do that?
A good question. Especially say in Salesforce, if you have admin access or if you have the required permission, I believe that is modify all data at your profile level, you can add any IP range that you want to add into your environment. But again, if you are working in a big company which has a big team of a particular project, let's say that for 20, 25 or 30, 40 people working in a single project, then in that case you have to request to your Salesforce admin saying that I used to access Salesforce environment from this particular IP range. Please add that IP at a profile level and network access level as well. Even if they don't add the IP range at network access level, that do work. But you have to make sure that your admin adds your IP at this login IP range level at profile level.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay.
Hello,
Yep. Go ahead.
this is Ram, sir. If I don't want to send a verification code on registered email ID, so how can I do this?
Okay. So
Even on mobile phone.
okay, you don't want, even you don't want to send the verification code anyhow,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
then you have to add your IP address at network access level. That's what it stands for. That means
Okay.
from the IP where you are trying to log in, just provide that IP range into that network level, into network access level. I'll just quickly show you if anything you don't have.
Yeah, sir.
Okay. So again, let's get back to our environment. We just
I
saw.
think, sir, when we like sign up or log in, it gives an option that we do not want to register a phone number, so we will not get a code on phone. And for the mobile, sorry, for the email address, if same email address and I mean same device is using again and again login, then also OTP or that not nothing comes.
Yep, you are correct. But for the first time you are login, it will get the verification code,
Yes,
correct?
only one time, the very first time we when we are done.
Okay, I will show you that thing as well that you are saying. Uh, I think I'm getting some background noise. Could you please go on mute?
Amit bhai, please mute Ram Karma. I think there is some background noise.
Okay, I think he muted himself.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So now we are talking about network access. So again, you just need to go to quick search box, just type network access. You will get that under security control. Open here, and this is also a place where you can add your IP ranges. But the IP range that you add here is only help you either you wanted to get the verification code over email or mobile or not. Suppose that I'm trying to log in this environment from my office network, and I don't want to get the access code every time I'm trying to log in from that network. What I can do is I can just find that IP address using the way that we just did earlier, and I can add those IP ranges here. And one thing that is to note about, you cannot add universal IP address here. If you try, you will get the error. The whatever the range you are trying to specify is too large, so you have to be sure that you are putting a valid IP range here. Suppose that I'm putting my network IP range here, and even I can set that you can provide a valid description as well, so that if your admin comes into this network access as a part of audit, they can see and they don't remove your IP ranges from there. Even that will not make any effect while you are trying to access, but yeah, then you have to get the verification code from your email. And sometime what happens, you don't have access to your personal email into your office networks. That is also the case. Now, as
So it is like backdoor entry. You can say if I don't have any email address, then also I can access.
yes, if you don't have access to, like, I am providing you my access and saying that go there and find the code that you are looking for. In that case, that is like a backdoor entry. Okay, so now so what we are talking about is all about network access, and we are talking where actually Salesforce stores the device information and browser information in Salesforce to identify that from this particular device or from this particular browser we have logged in already, and Salesforce doesn't ask for the verification code even if you don't add the IP range at network access level. So for that we have got something called activations in Salesforce that you can find from quick search box under security controls. Click here and you will see each and every IP range from where you had tried to log in. If you see here, these are the login IP, the various IP ranges from where I tried to log in. What was the username? I can see here. I think most of the time the username was same. If you wanted to remove for the users, you can just select all and you can remove those. Or if you wanted to remove some particular user, you can select and remove. Now, if I remove this particular user, and again that user is trying to log in from that IP range, this time that user will get the verification code. And below that we have got activated client browsers. These are the browser history that Salesforce is saving to identify that from this particular browser that user already logged in into the system and they don't ask for the verification code. Again, instead of IP ranges, they're just saving the client what is the browser from where you tried to log in. So if you can see that we have got Mozilla Firefox, and then we have also got Google Chrome 77 version, we have got Safari, any other, and you will also see the device from where you are actually trying to log in. We have got Windows, we have got Mac. I don't have any third system. So these are the places where you can see, and you can, if you wanted to remove for a particular user, particular web browser, client browser, or a particular IP, you can go here, filter out the IP ranges or the browsers based on your browse and client names. You can remove them.
Amit, one
So,
question.
yep, go ahead.
This is range between how many days? History range.
On an honest note, I don't have any idea about this, but I believe this stores for last 60 days.
Okay.
Yep, but we can see here it is starting from 2019, that is October, and it is storing up to March 2020. So even it is storing more than 60 days. Even I don't have any complete idea about this, but yeah, it does store all the clients or browser clients from where you are trying to log in.
Okay.
Okay, so I think this is pretty much about how organization level access works behind the scene into your Salesforce, the username and password flow, and a very basic overview about SSO. If you have some SSO enabled, based on what kind of SSO you do have enabled, it might be Federation ID or some kind of Active Directory with the help of third-party applications. If the configuration is correct, it will let you know, or it will let you log in into your Salesforce environment or the environment you're trying to access. Otherwise, you will get some SAML error that will be in form of some kind of XML error. So this is it. I think we are at the end of the session. I got many questions that were valid, and even if you do have any questions, I'm ready to take those questions.
Guys, if anyone having any kind of doubts, you can ask here, and otherwise this video will be uploaded on the channel. You can ask in the comment box.
Yes, I mean, just a quick question again.
Yeah, go for it.
Amit, just in case, let's say I'm logging my developer org, So we put the URL login.salesforce.com and we enter the credentials. So sometime it often re-renders that page even if we click even if we go for the correct credentials, and it will re-render the same page again and again. So why it is happening? Just because of weak connection, or it is a bug of Salesforce?
I will say that this might be a Salesforce issue. This is not a weak connection. It happens for me, but when it happens, I'll tell you. When I tried to enable my domain in Salesforce, and then after the domain is ready, I got the email from Salesforce, and again I tried to log in. I got that page again and again, even providing the right credentials. So I'll say wait for 5 to 10 minutes, and this will be resolved. But yep, that is not anyhow that is not related to internet connectivity.
Okay. But have you faced that same issue with Sandbox? I guess I have faced less time this issue in Sandbox, but often face this with the production org.
No, I never faced with Sandbox. I mainly faced this issue in my personal developer environment. Even in production, I did not get.
And plus one, Lakan, I want to add something. Like I am working on my domain, and in developer org, I am not even getting any email from Salesforce, and my Salesforce domain is already deployed into the org. So I don't know why this is, but yeah, this is the scenario in which I did not get any email from Salesforce when my domain is already activated.
Yes, correct. Okay.
So guys, if anyone having any questions right now, you can ask.
Yep,
Hello,
you
Amit.
can ask that might not be related with this session only. You can ask any questions that you have.
Yeah.
Hello, Amit.
Yes, Samit, I want to share one idea.
Go ahead.
Let's say we entered our credentials. Let's say I have entered my user ID lakhanmegani@cloud.com along with space before and after that particular user ID.
Mm-hmm.
And if I enter the password, and if I go for login, it will troubleshoot me.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That
So
is,
it
you
off.
have to make sure that you don't have any space either before or after your username. That
Yes,
I
yes, and
I also
uh,
face the same.
yes, and it often happens just because we save our password, and sometime if we open our org in incognito, then might happen we give some more space before prefix or suffix of our user ID.
So I'll say you can use some Google Chrome extensions for storing the username and password. If you want, I can walk you through how you can do that.
Yes.
So even if you see that this is force.com extension, sorry, force.com logins, here you can add up to 10 username and passwords as per your need. So if you try to add one here, click add account, you will get either you can create some group. Suppose that you have different groups, you have some personal environments, you have office environments, and you have some other groups as well. You can create. You just need to provide your password, username, which type of this environment is, either sandbox, production, pre-release, or you have some other environment. That means if you wanted to provide your custom domains, sometimes your admin has blocked your access to login from generic Salesforce URLs, so you can provide your custom domain here as well. And optional security token, if you want, you can provide. If you don't, that is also okay. And you can select where you actually wanted to land whenever this particular tool is you has logged in into your Salesforce environment. You can select either you wanted to go to case environment and case object as well, or you are going to some other URL. You have some custom, you can provide those URL here. So this is one tool, and other tool is that I'm sure you might be using, that is organizer for Salesforce, developed by Enrico Moru.
Yeah, yeah.
You can use that, and that is also good extension. You can save your username and password instead of
Mhm.
using the browser one. Even if
You
you
have also made a video on that.
yes, that's correct.
Hello, Amit. I'm Seshagiri. I'm having a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Uh, if I am using my laptop, first I will get this verification code, right? If I clear the cookies or if I clear the history, and again it will ask me verification code if I again want to log in. So why it will happen?
You're talking about browser histories, browser
Yeah,
cookies.
browser history and cookies.
So you said that you logged in once into your system, and then you clear your history from the browser, and then you are again trying to log in. It is asking verification code for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I have not given it a try, but you can give it a try. Like this is just an idea. Just log in into your system, see all these entries if these entries are there or not. Then try to clear your cookie. Once log in into your system, you'll definitely get the access code. Put that access code and see if these entries are getting erased somehow while you are erasing your browser. I'm sure these entries will be here. That is not related with this, but this is just an idea. I'm just checking. But I'll definitely, this is a good question. I'll check this and definitely put the answer over Twitter, or you can directly ping me over WhatsApp. I can answer you this.
Sure. Thank you.
Sir, one question, sir.
Yep.
If we enable the single sign-on, is it similar to Gmail in our mobile that we do not need to enter our credentials again and again to log in?
Yeah, that is the exact thing. You can use your social medias. You can use GitHub or you can use your emails for logging into any system, and that will basically create an entry with a unique ID with your email or your social media. And then once you are trying to log in into that system again, you are using that email, it will automatically take you into the system without asking for username and password.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, is there any access for fingerprint thumb?
That is related with your device. If your device is supporting fingerprint, I don't think you can access Salesforce environment with the fingerprint, because there is no blogs or videos that were published by Salesforce related to this. But your device is definitely related with fingerprint. You can use your mobile application for Salesforce that is controlled by your fingerprints.
So is there any app on App Exchange for that?
Yep, there is Salesforce One that is in Google Play Store itself. You can use that, install that application, and then you can enter your credentials in that application on all the
No,
thing
no,
all. Okay.
for thumb access.
No, there is no app.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Uh, yes, I mean, just want to add one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime if we click on login after entering the credentials, sometime it take time to take an instance of our UI of Salesforce Org. So sometime it take us on OAuth error page 1800. Have you faced that?
Yep, I did faced many time. Like even if I try to log in into my Success Community account, every day I get that error. I don't know what that is, but that might be they are storing our credentials into some kind of Active Directory, and it might be taking more time to log in into the system, because even Salesforce has enabled a CPU time limit of for 10 seconds. If that is taking more than 10 seconds, then only we are getting that error. I believe that
Yes.
that might be the case.
Yeah, that might be the chance. Yeah.
So, guys, if anyone having more questions, you can ask on YouTube because we are running out of time. I am having a call right now. So I think this is a very interactive session with the Amit Bhai. So if you like our session, don't forget to tweet it out so that more and more trailblazers enjoy this session on YouTube. And if anyone having any kind of review regarding session, you can tell right now. And thank you very much, Amit Bhai, for delivering this beautiful session. And we will see you tomorrow for the another one.
Thanks, Shubham, and thank you everyone for making this such an interactive session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amit.
Thank you.
And see you tomorrow, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shubham. Thank you, Amit. Bye.
Bye bye bye.